Did you know some NFL draft picks don't just improve a team for a season, they can completely change the direction of a franchise? We're talking about prospects so talented, fits so perfect, and ceilings so ridiculous that one commissioner announcement in April could reshape the league for years.
Fires complete, got it to Tate, open field, Tate's gone, touchdown Buckeyes.
And trust me, if you think the first few names are exciting, the top spots are on a completely different level. Number 10, Jermod McCoy, cornerback, Tennessee. At first glance, Jermod McCoy might not feel like the kind of pick that flips the entire NFL on its head. Cornerbacks do not always get that kind of attention, but McCoy is not just any cornerback. He is the kind of defender who can erase one side of the field and completely change how an offense has to play. That is what makes him so dangerous. If he lands with the right defensive staff, McCoy could become one of those players who quietly destroys game plans every Sunday. Quarterbacks stop testing him, receivers disappear, coordinators start forcing the ball elsewhere, and suddenly a defense that looked ordinary becomes a whole lot scarier. Great cornerbacks do more than cover. They let defensive coordinators become aggressive, creative, and ruthless. And when a rookie can unlock that kind of freedom, he is not just filling a need, he is changing the identity of the whole unit. But if you think that kind of impact is big, the next name could hit even harder. Number 9, Carnell Tate, wide receiver, Ohio State. Most people do not realize how quickly one elite wide receiver can transform an offense, and Carnell Tate has exactly that kind of potential. He is smooth, explosive, confident, and the kind of target who can make a quarterback look instantly more dangerous. That is where things get interesting, because Tate is not just a highlight machine prospect. He feels like the kind of receiver who can walk into the league and immediately become a major part of an offense. And if he lands with a team that already has a competent quarterback, the jump could be immediate. That is why this pick could change everything. One dynamic wide receiver can stretch the field, force safeties back, create easier windows underneath, and make the entire offense breathe differently. Suddenly, the scheme looks smarter, the quarterback looks sharper, the team looks alive, and somehow, the next prospect might affect even more plays than that. Number 8. Peter Woods, defensive tackle, Clemson. Peter Woods has the kind of power and disruption that can make offensive lines panic from the inside out. And when pressure comes straight through the middle, everything breaks. Quarterbacks hate that. Edge pressure is dangerous. Interior pressure is pure chaos. It destroys timing. That is why a player like Woods could become so valuable so fast. If he develops into the monster many people think he can be, he will not just be another defensive tackle. He could become the player offenses have to account for on every snap, and that changes everything. Number 7, Rueben Bain Jr, edge rusher, Miami. There is something different about edge rushers who play like they are angry at the sport itself. Rueben Bain Jr has that vibe. He is powerful, relentless, violent at the point of attack, and the kind of defender who can make a tackle's afternoon feel endless. That alone would make him a big-time pick. But what makes Bain so important is that true edge wreckers change the geometry of football. That is why Bain could become a franchise-changing pick. He is not just someone who adds pressure totals. He could become the kind of player offenses build their entire protection plan around. Number 6, Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle, Miami. The flashy picks get the headlines, but some of the most important draft picks are the ones that decide whether a franchise quarterback survives and succeeds. That is exactly why Francis Mauigoa could be one of the most important picks in this entire draft. Franchise tackles are not luxuries, they are foundations. If Mauigoa becomes what many expect, he could lock down one side of the line for years, and that kind of stability changes everything for an offense. Play callers become bolder, deep drops become safer, run schemes open up. The quarterback starts trusting the pocket instead of fearing it. That is why this pick could matter so much. A great offensive tackle does not always trend on social media, but he can completely reshape the future of a team. Number 5. Caleb Downs, safety, Ohio State. This is where the list starts getting scary. Caleb Downs is not just a good safety prospect. He is the kind of player who makes a defense smarter, faster, and more dangerous the second he steps on the field. Some defenders make plays, others make everyone around them better. Downs looks like he could do both, and that is a huge deal, because true difference makers in the secondary are rare. A safety with instincts, versatility, range, and leadership can hold the whole back end skin together. He can disguise coverages, kill big plays, clean up mistakes, and turn defensive confusion into defensive confidence. That is not normal rookie stuff. That is franchise pillar stuff. That is why this pick could change everything. If Downs becomes the player many expect, he will not just be filling a position. He could become the brain of a defense for the next decade. And those players do not just improve teams, they transform them. Number 4, Ty Simpson, quarterback, Alabama. Before we get to the biggest names, we have to talk about the quarterback who might end up changing the entire draft from the moment he comes off the board. Ty Simpson is one of those prospects whose outcome could swing wildly in either direction, and that is exactly why he is so fascinating, because quarterback picks do not just affect one player, they affect the coach, the front office, the system, the timeline, the patience of the fan base, the pressure on the building. If Simpson lands in the right spot, with the right structure around him, this could become one of those picks that looks obvious in hindsight, but if the fit is wrong, the consequences could be brutal. That is what makes this so important. Quarterback selections always carry the biggest emotional weight, but the really dangerous ones are the players with enough talent to convince a franchise it has found its future. Simpson absolutely has that kind of upside, and if a team gets this right, it could reset the entire direction of the organization. His pick alone could shift the energy of the whole draft. Number 3, Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State. When a linebacker is truly special, he does more than rack up tackles. He changes how fast a defense feels. Sonny Styles has that kind of upside. He is long, explosive, versatile, and the type of player who seems built for the modern NFL where defenders have to do a little bit of everything. That is what makes him terrifying. He can attack downhill, move in space, cover ground, disrupt passing lanes, and create matchup problems all over the field. If he reaches his ceiling, he is not just a linebacker. Styles could become the centerpiece of an entire defensive philosophy, the kind of player you build around, the kind of player offenses circle all week, the kind of player who makes a defense feel faster, meaner, and far more unpredictable. Number 2, Jeremiyah Love, running back, Notre Dame. Stay until the end because number 1 is honestly massive. But before that, we have the player who could force the entire league to rethink just how valuable an elite running back can still be. Jeremiyah Love is not just exciting. He is the kind of back who can change the temperature of a game. One cut and he is gone. One crease and the defense is in trouble. One touch and suddenly the entire stadium feels different. He has the burst, juice, and home run ability that can turn ordinary offensive snaps into pure fear for the defense. That is why this pick feels so important. Play action opens up, defensive boxes tighten, explosive plays multiply, everything starts flowing through him. That is not just a good pick. That is the kind of pick that can make a contender feel real overnight. Number 1, Fernando Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana. If there is one pick in the 2026 NFL Draft that could change everything, it is Fernando Mendoza, because this is the one that carries franchise quarterback energy. When a player like Mendoza comes into the draft, everything around him becomes bigger. Every rumor matters more. Every mock draft starts revolving around him. Every team near the top has to ask itself the most dangerous question in football. That is why he sits at number 1. If Mendoza becomes what many believe he can be, then the team that drafts him is not just getting a talented passer, it is getting hope, direction, relevance, and a possible new era. These were the 2026 NFL draft picks that could change everything. Some could transform defenses overnight, some could give broken offenses a new identity, and some carry the kind of upside that can shift the future of an entire franchise the second they hear their name called. That is the wild truth about the NFL draft. It is not just about talent, it is about timing, fit, pressure, belief, and whether one team is bold enough to make the pick that changes its future forever. Now I want to hear from you. Which 2026 draft pick has the biggest chance to change the league? And did we rank them right? Drop your top choice in the comments, share this with the biggest NFL fan you know, and subscribe to Factopia Sport for more insane sports countdowns. Because if you thought this draft class was loaded, just wait until the next countdown.